The PurpleHeart wood classical head joint. It's a skill to put it in the lathe because you have to put it tight enough so it can spin, but not too tight to prevent cracks. Setting it and choosing the proper knife for this particular project. A 2 cm gap to place the ring. I will measure it to be 23.3 millimeters. For the decoration ring, I'm going to use this olive wood. I already pre-made it, and I will cut a small 2 cm ring from this olive wood, and I will connect it to that part of the PurpleHeart wood. It's a beautiful story about this olive wood. I was walking in Jerusalem about 7 years ago, and I saw gardeners that are cutting this branch, huge, thick branch of an old olive tree. And I looked at them and I saw that they were about to dump this branch, and I asked them, "Can I use this?" And they looked at me surprised. "Oh yeah, sure," they responded. They were so happy to see that I respect this wood. So they cut a few pieces, and they cut the branch for a few pieces, and they gave it to me. And here it is right now. I'm measuring a small ring from it, and I will connect it to this flute head joint, and this flute head joint is going to fly to the United States, and it has a little story with it. Well, the gluing is another story. It took me a while to understand that there is levels and different qualities to the glues. I picked my glue, about this glue, that it dries very quick and it's so strong that after I glue it, and I also use this adhesive to make it even faster and fill up the pores, later on there is no way I can break it. I try to take it apart will be basically breaking the flute head joint, so I'm very happy with it. I'm happy I found it. I tried a few of them. This one works the best. I'm getting the glue to all the parts, as spreading it well. It's time to make sure that all the small little gaps and minor microscopic pores will be filled, filling it up with this adhesive and the glue. Here comes the most important part of the flute head joint making. The flute head joint must have a certain conical shape inside. For that, I'm going to use this 18% cobalt knife I made in order to shape it inside after I drilled the shape. I'm sketching the position of the lip plate, although right now it's not precise. Later on I will measure it to be in the precise position. Making this lip plate thin and in the right shape will not interfere with the musician articulation. And using a very flat lip plate gives the musician more control on the embouchure hole. Outside design of the flute head joint is important for aesthetics, but it also affects the sound of the flute head joint if it's thick or thin walls. I carve out gently 1/4 millimeter at a time, not to put a lot of pressure on the wood to prevent tears or future cracks. The upper part of the flute head joint is sensitive spot, since we will insert inside the cork that creates more pressure. The top part of the head joint, where the rest of the flute head joint has no significant pressure. I have to create the sleeve for the silver tenon that I will attach to the flute head joint later on. A little more polishing, sanding, and it will go to the next phase. The cap of the flute head joint or the crown has to be precise as well. It will create the finishing look of the flute head joint, and also it will give somewhat of more sealing to the flute head joint. So I want to make it as tight as possible, yet that it will still be flexible to take in and out. You can see the purple color comes out naturally when the wood gets hot. The purple color is actually oil, the oils of the wood that comes out when the wood gets hot. So I can also leave it in the sun and it will turn to be much more purple. But I will treat it later on in the oven to get the purple color out. Although all the embouchure holes I do for the classical style are the same size and are the same shape, nevertheless, it requires an enormous amount of precision in order to get it to the most perfect, beautiful, haunting sound, as I want all my flutes to have. Adding the grooves on both sides of the embouchure hole adds a wonderful flavor to the sound of the flute. Shaping the hole from the inside adds direction to the sound and precision. By putting the PurpleHeart within the oven, I make sure that this majestic, powerful purple color will stay forever.